For days after he shook hands and grinned with his brother's murderer, Foolio passed away. It is not merely a tragedy, it's a fact that newly made CCTV footage revealed. Foolio's brother, his own blood, sitting down with the man the police now suspect of carrying out the fatal hotel attack makes it disturbing. Why had he been there? What was the topic of their conversation? What is the extent of this betrayal? According to family sources, Foolio had been concerned for weeks, telling friends that he felt monitored and that something was off. Now things are starting to make sense. The killer did not. Foolio received protection, access, and an invitation from someone he trusted more than anyone else. Furthermore, the day after that secret meeting, Foolio's private travel arrangements were suddenly disclosed. Could this be a coincidence? Or had this been an inside-out, cold and cunning setup? Well, you thought you knew how this story ended. Think again. You'll begin to question everything as a result of what we've learned, especially the meaning of family. As though it were any other day, you walked into the gas station. No fear, no hesitation, no safety. The issue is that they expected him to show up. The cameras weren't lying, and neither was the timestamp. Just 72 hours before Foolio's horrible death, his own brother, yes, blood brother, was seen jokingly posted up with the man who is now accused of organizing the assassination. And you're expecting us to believe that was a coincidence? People think betrayal only happens in movies. However, Hollywood could never have imagined how twisted the scripts penned by Jacksonville streets are. Without any tension or animosity, the two shaking hands are seen in the video, catching up on unfinished business. It wasn't a reunion, though. This arrangement, which was directly in front of them, was disregarded by everyone. According to rumors, this was not even their first encounter. The two had been in contact for weeks, according to unnamed individuals, who have been giving us uncensored information since this madness began. Private direct conversations, deleted messages, and burned phones. Despite their apparent desire to leave no mark, the streets never forget. And when the video came out, man, that was a major shock. The city was silent for a moment. Then a commotion broke out. Those who were mourning Foolio started to ask one horrifying question. Was his own blood setting him up? You see, this isn't just about meat. More than anything else, it is about betrayal. Furthermore, when we use the term treachery, we do not imply that there is no ambiguous drama. We're talking about swapping luggage. According to reports, Foolio's brother got an offer: money, safety, or worse, power. In the social media game, clout may also make criminals seem like saints. A single alleged eyewitness, according to a woman who lived nearby, she saw something that has followed her around ever since. They were laughing, she muttered. I thought they were cool, but now I think that chuckle was a farewell. If that doesn't happen, nothing will show your bones. Now, let's return. There were undoubtedly Foolio's enemies. He always rolled sharp, but his name was on too many tongues, from distunes to real beef. Surrounded himself with people he thought he could trust, until one of them decided that trust was worth sacrificing for a better opportunity. The narrative was changed from one of intermittent violence to one of intentional betrayal by a single person, a single tactic, and a single handshake that was caught on camera. What's most disturbing is that there were suspicions that street beef had nothing to do with this. Some say that as Foolio was about to launch something important, his own label, new ventures, his life may have changed. However, not everyone desired him to be the main attraction, particularly not those closest to him, because when one star shines, the others start to feel like shadows. Jacksonville has changed since the release of this information. The blogs came to life. Twitter became popular. Instagram was filled with screenshots, ludicrous accusations, and conspiracy theories. The hashtags #JusticeForFoolio and #BrotherDidIt were popular. In the court of popular opinion, they have already cast their votes. But the real question is, where is this brother now? Sources claim that he vanished the day after Foolio's death. Switch off your phone. No social media. Not even his closest buddies know where he is. It seemed that he vanished into thin air. But others claim that he is being protected. Who is keeping you safe? Our next research will focus on that, because from here it becomes darker and darker. You thought this had to do with jealousy. No, it's bigger. It was said that a local promoter with ties to Foolio's rivals was involved. Some claim that this individual even influenced Foolio's brother. Financial pressure, legal threats, who knows? But the moment that brother sat down with the alleged killer, the countdown began. And when we say countdown, we mean it literally. The final 72 hours of Foolio's life are now being scrutinized. Every phone conversation, text message, and action. And what do you know? It was just a fresh leak. Something that will cause this to blow up. It all fell apart at that point. Security footage was discovered. Grainy, timestamp stamped, and almost too easily leaked to be real. But that was enough. In the footage, Foolio's brother could be seen going inside a blacked-out room with his head down and hood up. SUV with the same person that investigators believe to be Foolio's killer. Give that information some thought. The accused murderer got into a car with his own brother, not a stranger or a cousin. 3 days before Foolio died. Blew out, and internet investigators went bananas. Reddit threads became viral. Everyone was asked the same question. Was this a setup within the company? Was Foolio betrayed by blood? The story also thickened rapidly. You know, according to an unnamed source, the circumstances are somewhat similar to what I'm saying. They had previously gotten together late at night. Apparently, Foolio's brother and the alleged shooter was seen with the victim multiple times in the weeks before the murder. Clubs, gas stations, and a gym in North Miami. This encounter wasn't a coincidence. There was coordination. Stop. Now, if your brother had a long-standing rivalry with someone, how likely is it that you would be caught stealing them at 2 in the morning up behind a convenience store? Yes, exactly. But hold on, it gets dirtier. A voicemail that became public. Yes, the blogs featured a real voicemail that was allegedly recorded from a burner phone. It had what was believed to be Foolio's brother's male voice when he remarked, "I told you I was gone. Line it up. I just need the bread cleared before Sunday." Line it up was the Foolio in question. His statement caused a stir on the internet. Was the setup paid for? A family member is planning a hit in exchange for a few thousand cash and the promise of immunity. Betrayal and Twitter were shouting in the streets. They essentially held a trial when they condemned Foolio's brother by breakfast. Meanwhile, Foolio's inner circle started to react rapidly. On Instagram Live, a longtime friend of the late artist almost broke down. "I felt something was amiss. He was being funny. In case something goes wrong, Foolio suggested that I check the nearest ones." He knew. Man, he knew. People weren't only cautious anymore. They were furious. Fans descended on the brothers' accounts, calling him Jacksonville's Judas, yelling "snake" emojis and demanding explanations. His own baby mother did comment, saying he was acting to calm the morning Foolio was hit. But there is still drama ahead, so don't worry. Is the black SUV from the security footage familiar to you? It turned out to be rented. Who, in your opinion, signed it? The brother, and the address on the leasing agreement. 6 minutes or so from the exact location where Foolio was shot and murdered was a condo. Could this be a coincidence? No. Based on what the internet says, and the fake FBI insiders showed up in no time. Someone claiming to be a retired agent sent a direct message to influencers, informing them that the situation was more complicated than first thought. implying that Foolio might have been the target of an investigation and that his brother had flipped to defend himself. The sibling apparently had charges in a gun case that mysteriously disappeared from court records a few days after Foolio was slain. Let's take a look back. A leased getaway SUV, secret meetings with the gunman, voicemails from burner phones discussing setup, and a court case that was quickly dismissed are all pieces of evidence that lead to Foolio. His greatest trust was in his own blood. It was at this point when the internet went haywire. Someone had leaked an image. The Foolio funeral. Closed casket. Wearing all black shades, the brother in the back row had the look of someone who had said goodbye long before the rest of the world recognized something was wrong. He had neither tears nor red eyes, and he was expressionless. One TikTok creator analyzed the brother's body language in great detail and said that his stance was too casual. His fists were clenched behind his back as though he commanded the room. What happened next? Theo's cousin didn't like the show, to put it nicely. Witnesses reported that there was a verbal altercation in the chapel with family members yelling forced security to intervene. One of the women could be heard shouting, "You think we don't know what you're doing?" There was chaos. At a funeral, the unexpected kind. Unless, of course, the murderer is there. As if the internet wasn't scandalous enough, a hip-hop website releases an audio clip allegedly from a jailhouse phone call that features the voice of the accused murderer. And what did he say? "Tell Lil Bro that I got my portion. It's resolved. He's safe now. Lil Bro, I've taken care of my half." That was it. The video was simply, despite being just 7 seconds long, it made a significant online impact. Who is Lil Bro? Why is the topic of money being discussed? And the particulars of what has been dealt with? You already know what people think. The betrayal was not just sincere, but also planned. Theo wasn't the only person the streets attacked. If these leaks are true, he didn't think he would be the only one to sell out. That's when everything went wrong. Because it has been claimed that the same person, yes, the same alleged trigger guy who has been making the rounds in the streets was in Theo's own gang. Stop now. Think about that for a moment. You're not merely the man who killed your brother, and you should eat together. As if nothing had occurred, you switch blunts, dap up, and smile for photos. Bro, this goes beyond simple treachery. This is homicide of the spirit. Oh, this was also not taken lightly by the public. There were a ton of comments on every post. This, he knew, was no coincidence. He was playing both sides the entire time. There were even others who speculated that the brother might have been directly engaged. A meticulously orchestrated inside job reminiscent of a Netflix series. And the invoices just kept coming in. The public was given access to phone records. Screenshots of alleged direct messages showed up. One audio recording was taken from social media, but it was too late to reverse the damage. Seemed to have. A voice like the brothers, laughing with the same man who fired the gun. No cries for justice, no sobs, no silence. Cold-blooded, paralyzing silence. Foolio's followers are also speaking up. For years, Foolio represented tenacity, suffering, and survival. He was more than just a rapper. He was a movement, a voice for the voiceless. The very underpinnings of his legacy are now shaking as a result of this treachery. Nobody expected perfection. Finding out that your own family members may have ignored the situation and remained silent, however, is a different kind of suffering. Now let's talk about motivation. This isn't just a disagreement about overhood politics or rap labels. You see? No, it has to do with money. A substantial amount of money. According to reports, Theo intended to remove a few people from his financial life. It was said that he had overheard others skimming the top. In your opinion, who was on that list? Yes, his brother. Now, many are questioning whether this death was a warning shot. Was this murder truly about territory, or was it done to silence Foolio before he started burning bridges? Because the man has lawyers and auditors, he was ready to clean up the house. But before he could utter a name, he dropped lifeless. It's chillingly timed. 2 days before Foolio's death, a mysterious meeting occurred at a Tampa eatery. Other witnesses, including a waitress, claimed seeing Foolio's brother sitting with 3 unidentified men, one of whom had facial tattoos that were identical to the alleged murderers, although security footage has not yet been released. What was the topic of their conversation? Nobody knows. No audio, no official report. However, shortly after that meeting, Foolio changed hotel rooms. He stopped posting. He looked nervous, like he was expecting something. It was too late, but it was as if he had been warned. The darkness starts at this point. On the morning of the shooting, Foolio was supposed to meet with his team, but he canceled. DOT claimed to get an odd sensation. He chose to go out alone instead, and a few hours later there was chaos, gunfire, and the death of another young person. But what followed was truly devastating to the internet. Because his brother went live on Instagram shortly after Foolio's death, and the comments went insane while he was wearing new jewelry, laughing and talking about God's plan. According to department sources, the investigation simply turned inward, although police haven't made an arrest yet. They are looking into Foolio's brother, rental car records, and phone PS withdrawals. When thousands of people asked him, "How are you smiling right now? Why are you flexing when your brother just died?" he responded, "Y'all don't know the full story, bro." He's refusing to comply or give up. His phone, avoiding reporters, and just keeping quiet while everything around him erupts. But fans are doing what they do best. They're looking into and dissecting every post and Twitter threads. As Reddit detectives match voice notes, tattoos, and timestamps, it's becoming harder and harder to ignore what's in front of us. All across the streets, the term setup is being shouted. Neither random nor gang conflict. Setup. Perhaps Foolio could have predicted it, which is the saddest part. Perhaps after seeing his own blood in his eyes, he thought he wouldn't. But he did, or at least stand aside and let it happen. That's what pierces the deepest. This is more than simply music. Here, clout isn't important. This is about loyalty being destroyed, trust being betrayed, and a legacy being irrevocably damaged. It's not over yet because the streets never forget and the supporters never forgive. Moreover, karma is unfair. The truth is leaking out, piece by piece. Eventually, we will find out who was behind Foolio when it exploded, and who was standing right, close to the man who pulled the gun. And when that day comes, no Instagram Live, no filter, and no PR spin will clear the guilty. Not anymore. Despite everything, we have learned all the lies, the grainy video, the stolen direct messages. That awful surveillance clip that revealed this entire mess. One question still haunts everyone watching. Was it a deadly coincidence? Or was it all prearranged from the start? Because, let's be honest, you can't just happen to meet your brother's killer a few days before a murder takes place, unless there was a nefarious vibe in the air. Nor was Foolio just a casualty of the crossfire. This was premeditated disruption and willful betrayal. With families torn, half the city blaming, and the streets churning with more voices than ever before. Nobody feels secure anymore, and even those who thought they were untouchable. The reality is that more receipts were discovered online than by police. The fact that more information was contained in the voice notes issued by unnamed people than in the press releases. The ability to discern between smoke and reality is deteriorating, but one thing is clearly, someone is hiding something. And the truth will finally come to light, one enigmatic post at a time. Now is your moment. Was Foolio betrayed by his own blood? Or did his brother only serve as a pawn in a bigger game? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Was something put up? Was it a case of street justice or something darker? I like the comment. Furthermore, this narrative is only beginning, so subscribe if you really want to see the pure, unadulterated reality behind the drama they don't want you to see.